What's going on, guys? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and on this week's D&D update, we have some big news about this whole Meltdown comics things with Dungeons & Dragons. If you're not sure, stay tuned to hear all about that. Some new information about the next campaign, I think, and some other stuff. Some big names in the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing community is going to be involved as well. And we have the May Unearthed Arcana. Not exactly what we were looking for, kind of what we were hoping wouldn't come back, but it did, so... but I'm going to talk about it, so stay tuned. Alright, so let's jump right in. I talked about this live from Midtown Comics, or Meltdown Comics, rather. So on June 1st, that is just over a little 2 weeks away, you can watch a bunch of people at Meltdown Comics live on the Dungeons & Dragons Twitch channel. So the Adventuring Party will stream D&D live from Meltdown, featuring comedians playing through a brand new one-shot with characters they've created with the D&D story team. I'll be hosted by Allison Hayslip. If your name sounds familiar, she was big on Attack of the Show and on G4 before it changed. She's also done several other things since then, but that's what I know her from, so that's what I'm going to say. The Adventuring Party will continue through the summer with a new regular weekly series debuting on the Nerdist Twitch channel. More details on the cast and what characters they'll be playing will be announced soon. Matthew Mercer, veteran voice actor and Critical Role, will be the Dungeon Master, after working hand-in-hand with the team at Dungeons & Dragons to develop the adventure. Allison Hayslip will be the host, unveiling new D&D products and corralling the shenanigans on stage, including interviews with Chris Perkins, Mike Merles, and Rob Overmeyer. So, this is fairly big news. What does this mean? Matt Mercer's the DM. It says it's going to be a weekly series going forward. I don't know if everybody's going to be involved. It sounds like it, so it sounds like Allison Hayslip will be hosting every week. It sounds like Matt Mercer is going to be DMing every week, so you're going to see Matt Mercer as a DM on Critical Role, and on this new show from Meltdown Comics on the Nerdist Twitch channel. If that's true, honestly, I'd be more curious to see how Matt Mercer, how it goes, and will it affect his DMing on either game, having to focus on running 2 campaigns, unless he's just running this one game and not it going forward. But it doesn't sound like that's the case. Big stuff is the unveiling new D&D products, so I guess we'll probably get to see the new potential campaign. I think it's like Wrath of the Storm Giants is what people have been talking about. So it's going to be going back to, like, I guess it's G1 through G3 of the old TSR Dungeons & Dragons. Again, I can't pretend to be too familiar with it, but there was a little bit of some rumors going around and pre-orders popping up on various RPG websites about this new campaign, about fighting giants in the Forgotten Realms. So hopefully that's where we're going. And Chris Perkins, DM to the Stars, host of Acquisitions Incorporated, Mike Merles, I can't remember his exact title for Dungeons & Dragons, but he's like one of the lead developers, if not like the director of Dungeons & Dragons at Wizards of the Coast. And Rob Overmeyer is the executive producer of the video game Neverwinter, which is Dungeons & Dragons based. Tune into the Twitch channel on June 1st at 4 p.m. Pacific for the exciting unveiling of the new storyline and the accompanying line of products from partners including miniatures, apparel, and video games. So we're looking at WizKids, Gale Force 9, We Love Fine, and Cryptic/Perfect World. So WizKids is minis and games. Gale Force 9 is also minis and things like Dungeon Master screens, the spellbook cards, etc. We Love Fine is apparel. Dice bags and things, and Cryptic/Perfect World is Neverwinter. So I believe this is probably the same thing. Yes. So I'll throw this up here from their Facebook. So we can go ahead and check this out together.
Ugh, 2 misses, right?
Yeah, sorry.
Damn. Hey everybody, I'm Allison Hayslip, and I am here at Meltdown Comics in Hollywood. Now, as you know, there's always funny people in this place checking out the latest releases, so we thought it would be cool to show off the future of Dungeons & Dragons here at Meltdown. Tune in at 4 p.m. on June 1st on Twitch to learn about the new D&D story from me, Mike Merles, and Chris Perkins. You'll even get to see Matt Mercer spin a new fantasy tale for a few people you might recognize from the Meltdown shows. So tune in on June 1st at 4 p.m. Pacific time on twitch.tv/WOTC_DND for D&D live from Meltdown. We'll see you then. All right, what happens?
Okay, so that's that. So that's all you need to know about that. let's talk. Unfortunately, the Unearthed Arcana this month is... I guess it's not unfortunately. That's kind of cruel to say that, and I got a little flack for it last time, but it's not new content, official D&D content, like the Unearthed Arcana, things that when they release, we know with enough shop work and stuff like that, could end up in a source book in the future, which we saw things like the Mastermind, the Storm Sorcerer is a good one, and the Swashbuckler. Those were Unearthed Arcana articles that ended up being printed in the final version of the Sword Coast Adventures Guide. A little bit tweaked, but they were in there. So this, they are going to do spotlights on things in the Dungeon Master Guild. There's 2 articles. There is Darker Gifts, which is a Curse of Strahd kind of expansion module. If I remember correctly, I think I might actually own this. Every single one that they've debuted so far, I own. And this is really why I want to debut. I didn't have time this week due to working on the house and things like that, but I'm going to be doing a once-a-week spotlight on piece of content from the Dungeon Masters Guild. I have, like, I don't know, probably 100 different things that I've either purchased or gotten for free or whatnot. So I have a lot to go, and I everything, thankfully, almost everything I've picked up, I've been very happy with. So Darker Gifts. If you recall when we did our review of Curse of Strahd, the Adventure League style stuff for that, if you die between levels, or below level 5, you get resurrected in Barovia by due just to the natural, supernatural essences of that, basically, universe. It brings you back to life, but you have a curse. And the curse will give you some sort of positive, like you might have resistance to cold damage, because the cold spirits grip your soul and pull you back to the plane of the living. But now you have vulnerability to fire damage, which arguably is worse, because there's a lot more fire than there is cold damage in the game as far as monsters and spells go. The current Adventure League season, characters again do die below level 5. Darker Gifts expands that list to 16 additional options. The fun part of the list is that many feel truly horrific. For instance, one curse causes a character's mouth to become sewn shut. Spellcaster needs to use variable components is out of luck. Though at the cost of a few points of damage, you can tear the sutures out of your mouth to speak for 1 round. Talk about cruel and gritty and horror and Barovian. That's what that is. However, my only complaint is Adventure League stuff has this below level 5 with the 4 curses. You can obviously adopt that in your own personal playthrough of Curse of Strahd. Nothing stopping you, but Darker Gifts that adds it out to 16 isn't Adventure League legal by definition. Therefore, if you're playing in an Adventure League game where this is canonical, you can't use it because it's not Adventure League legal. Unless they make the ruling that DM's Guild content is Adventure League legal, which you can't, because it doesn't go through the same balance information that, you know, in-house WTC stuff gets taken care of. And these are 3 Druid circles. These are actually very well done. I picked these up a long time ago when they first came out, and they've been consistently updated to get better and better and better. So it's good because this is from Stray Chow Chow. And is that the publisher's name or the designer's name, or perhaps we're dealing with a dog, world former DM contributor. 3 different Druid options. Druid is one of the least supported in Unearthed Arcana stuff as far as things have gone so far, and nothing in the Sword Coast Adventures Guide either. A couple of spells in the Elemental Evil update, but not a lot of information, so they created 3. Circle of the Death Bloom, Circle of the Fountain, and Circle of the Beast. Circle of the Death Bloom is more Blighter-ish, if you're familiar with the Blighter, either Prestige class or other versions of variant classes, being an evil druid and they're not necessarily evil, but focusing more on the death and decay and sort of the opposite of the growth of life of things like a druid. You're focusing more on the opposite of that. So they can turn into fungus, and they can use they can cause decay and like a big focus on blight and necrotic damage and things like that. Cool stuff. Not my favorite though. Circle of the Fountain is probably my favorite. It is just an amazing healing class. If your DM allows it and you're looking for a healer, but you want to not get stuck in being a cleric or maybe even a bard or paladin to a lesser extent, Circle of the Fountain is for you. This has basically an in-class ability to create potions. They have a lot of water-based magic as well. I believe, and they get, they have like, it's more Circle of the Land-ish in that you get pre-given spells that you get, but you also, when you heal people, there's additional benefits for that, and you can create these healing droughts that give you, or drafts, I guess technically, draughts, that heal you, and they're very well done, and you will be hard-pressed to find a better healing class outside of the Life Cleric. And Circle of the Beast is my other favorite. It's a very big callback to 3.5 and other previous editions of the Druid that have pets. This is almost enough to make me want to play this in upcoming one-shots and such. Is a Druid that gets an animal companion. Awesome, right? I mean, animal companion, period, great. However, you alter your wild shaping ability, so instead of you wild shaping into a creature, you can, like, touch your animal companion and wild shape them into a larger, more powerful version of themselves, doing more damage, having resistances, and things like that. Excuse me, my only complaint is it requires concentration, or at least the version that I had seen. So, like, where wild shaping doesn't cause you to concentrate, you're just in wild shape form until you take damage. When you go to wild shape your animal companion into his new form, you have to actually concentrate on that. So that negates your ability to cast concentration spells, which is kind of a bummer to me. If they were, or I mean, you could obviously home rule this yourself and pull that piece out. Because, I mean, wild shaping already has a limit on it. However, this is an animal companion, so if it gets wild shaped and it dies, it's dead. It doesn't drop and go back to its regular form. But definitely worth checking out. Maybe that will be one of the first content I'll review a little bit more in depth and show the content on the screen. But not too much, because I don't want to negate you going to go purchase those. If they're purchased, I can't remember if they're free or not. Matt Monday, Amber Temple of Curse of Strahd. Again, these, I feel like I want to just put these out there to show you guys that they're there, but at the same time, the book is out. You can see these in the book. But it is consistent content on the Facebook page, so it's worth mentioning. I would just like to see more consistent content, or maybe previews of the... If they're going to announce it in 2 weeks, start giving us previews. I mean, granted, if they announce it in June, we probably won't see it till November anyway, but, like, we want source books. We want more material. Canonize some of your Unearthed Arcana stuff, and let us have that to run with, you know? But it is what it is. Wolfgang Baur is on the D&D podcast. I will probably actually check this out. I usually don't, because I haven't used an Apple product in a while, and I can't even... I just found my iPod Nano from, like, 2002. But Wolfgang Baur is the CEO of Kobold Press, the gaming company. They are a big friend of Nerd Immersion and the channel. I'm a big fan of the work that they put out. They've put out several things. They did an update to the or an additional adventure for Tyranny of Dragons storyline. They are actually the group that developed Rise of Tiamat and Horde of the Dragon Queen, so you may know them from that. They did 2 other source books called the Midgard Heroes and Southland Heroes. Very good, very well designed. You can check the reviews out on our channel of that, of those 2 books. For additional source material and races, backgrounds for your D&D 5e campaign. They've also done 3 smaller time, low-level adventure modules. I really like the Tomb of Tiberesh. I also upscaled that one as a potential one for one of my future games on our Tuesday night stream. But I would check that out. And they also did the Gem Dragons of Faerun, if you might have seen that on the DM's Guild. That is another one of their products as well. And they did a very successful Kickstarter earlier last year called the Tome of Beasts. We've debuted a couple of the monsters here on the channel on various streams. But it's going to add over 400 new monsters. Again, not canon, but we desperately crave additional monsters. That's why there's so many books out there that are Dungeon DM Guild content that is just taking old D&D monsters and importing them into 5th edition. And lastly, Roll20 Con is just around the corner, May 27th. That's not this Friday, but next Friday. Unfortunately, or I'm sorry, I'm silly. It's on June 3rd, actually. 24 free online celebration of the Roll20 community. This has been going on for a while. Will take place on June 3rd, 2016 for 24 hours. You can start preparing, listening, and joining games now on May 27th, which is not this Friday, but next Friday. All games labeled for Roll20 Con will have access to the Plus level subscription features, including dynamic lighting, which is very cool if you're not familiar with that for Roll20. For free until June 3rd at 11:59 Pacific. During the convention, some of your favorite streamers and publishers will be live on Twitch, helping us raise money for CyberSmile, the international nonprofit supporting victims of cyberbullying. Once you can help us break Roll20's concurrent user record, tell your group to play or start something new with the community, June 3rd. And then there's hours and location and more information here. A handful of featured guests: Chris Perkins, Greg Billsland, Jesse Cox, people that I recognize. Nope. Steven Chalmont from Troll Lord Games as well. That one I do recognize. Troll Lord they did some other cool stuff. So, anyway, you can go ahead and check this out. Again, links are always in the description. Here's some of the sponsors here as well. Steve Jackson Games, Hasbro, or CyberSmile rather. So yeah, you can go ahead and check that out as well. And again, find the links in the description. So, thank you guys once again for coming and checking out this. You guys have been great on the support. We jumped up probably over 10 subscribers in the past couple of days, so we really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed, but you like listening to my voice, or at least me talk the way I present information and talk about it, you can click right here below to subscribe to the channel. That way you can stay up to date. You can also follow us on one of pretty much any social media you can think of, or head over to nerdimmersion.com, which is the website where all of our videos are posted, but we also post articles and things from time to time. Gonna have a couple of board game reviews coming out, probably one of Red Cards, and definitely have one coming out of Haiku Warrior from the folks that did Drinking Quest. So you can be on the lookout for that. It was a super fun game, 4 players, very, very good time. And just, again, if you click up here, you can see Know Your Role. This is our Tuesday night stream. It's, again, a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons stream. Characters just hit around level 12, and they are finally working their way into the actual main story of the game. So things are going to get interesting. A little bit of a spoiler, they planted a magic bean at the end of last episode, and they actually rolled 100 on a D percentile, so a beanstalk erupted out of the ground. So if you want to see where they go as they climb that beanstalk, you can click this to see the previous episodes, or come join us Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you want to check out some, looking for minis for your D&D 5th edition game, or any other role-playing game for that matter, you can check out my review here of Reaper minis. Reaper minis are awesome, really cheap, especially the bone line miniatures that you can get. They are all pre-designed. You can't buy them pre-painted, but you're looking at around $2 to $3 per mini, depending on the intricateness and the size. So I do a quick review of them and show you off some of the new ones that I bought right out of the package. Click there to read about that, or to watch that video. And down below is the Know Your Role one-shot. We did a really fun, it was supposed to be a one-shot, turned out into 3 games over 4 videos, so you can check that out if you want to see some fun level 14 content with Matt Mercer's Blood Hunter thrown in there as well, and a fun campaign that Jake, who plays Theron in this game up here, he decided to take the DM seat, and I got to be a player, so you can check that out as well. Other than that, guys, be on the lookout for some more videos coming out this week, as well as a couple of video game related streams. I did a debut, or I tried to stream Night Squad on Friday night, and that did not work. But we're going to have some other cool ones, and some Kickstarter spotlights as well. And Spoontoons and Booze, if you want to watch some old school cartoons. We're probably going to continue with Dungeons & Dragons, the cartoon, Saturday morning from 10 to 11 Eastern. But I'll talk more about that later. So anyway, guys, I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time.